Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Financial Advisors Want to Know podcast. I'm Catherine Tindall, a CPA with Dominion, a specialty tax and accounting firm for the wealth management industry. On today's episode, we have with us Colleen Bowler. She is a CFP. She spent over 25 years building and growing her firm and having big impacts on her clients' lives and, the families under their care. Now, using the wisdom that she gained over those 25 years, she has a new firm, C&J Innovations, where she helps other firms to, grow and scale and tackle the problems that come up in every practice when they go through, the life cycle that it is running a wealth management practice. So thanks for joining me today, Colleen.
Oh, I'm happy to, Catherine. Good to see you.
Yes. So we were talking a little bit in the pre-show about it can be tricky to build rapport quickly with anybody, especially for advisors. Like I've experienced this in the past, where I've experienced this from the tax professional side of, views on advisors, and like certain CPAs have certain views. So when we talk about the topic of, adding value in relationships, where's a good place for us to kind of set the conversation when it comes to advisors' ability to, add value in relationships quickly?
I think in the beginning, most of us in starting the career, as you said, I made $14,000 the first year in business and then into seven figures when I sold my firm with $500 million of AUM. And in the beginning, I think I tried to do that by talking all about me and my experience, or really now that I know, lack thereof. I gained a lot of confidence talking about us. And I believe the quicker that an advisor can transfer the conversation to asking questions and asking powerful questions about those prospects or about their clients, the quicker trust is built, because it's all about them. And we all know that very few people get to talk about them, right? So it is a wonderful way to build trust quickly, is to ask questions about them.
So in terms of like a potential prospect relationship, where would you usually recommend kind of starting that conversation?
For me, if I was having a meeting with you, I would say, Catherine, I'm so glad so-and-so introduced me to you. Before we get started, let me ask you a couple of questions about you and where you are right now and where you want to go into your future. Because no matter how smart I am or no matter what I know, your future is more important than any of that. So why don't we start there? I think it automatically puts a client at ease when it's starting to talk about them, just like you do with financial advisors. I mean, they've already checked you out, right? They've already checked you out. They know who you are. They've looked at your LinkedIn. They've looked at, videos, if you've done videos or whatever. So they want to know if you are invested in them or invested in what you're doing and how you're doing it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think what can be helpful here too, something that I've seen people use with a lot of success is, especially in those intro conversations, if it's like a Zoom meeting or just like a phone call, it's helpful to pre-think of, have like a script of the questions that you tend to ask. Because I know, and it's not that you have to be like, okay, question one, question two, but at least if you have that in your process of, okay, what are the things that I need to make sure that are aligned so that I know that once we start this process, or if I'm going to offer to do work, that I know it's going to be a good fit, that I know that they're going to get the transformation that they need. Because I think for a lot of people too, and I've experienced this, internally with our own firm, is that you talk to people, but you really have to start off with, okay, what's the pains they're experiencing? What are the problems that they're not aware of? Because a lot of times people will come to you because they have a specific pain that they're feeling or a specific problem that's pushing for it. But then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that they just can't even see underneath the surface. So how do you pull some of those things out so that they're aware of, like, have you had your estate planning updated? Like, just those kinds of things, getting all of that information out there and really getting a deep understanding of what is going on with them so that you can then back into on your side of, okay, is this person actually a good fit for what I've built? Is this person, am I actually going to be able to deliver a transformation here? Or, for whatever reason, is it not going to be a good fit? And getting those questions in the front end is really helpful.
It's really helpful. And it is about pain. It is about things that they're going through, but it's also about the joy and where they want to go in their future.
Oh, absolutely.
I think, in the financial advising world, they are called disturbing tracks, about disturbing people. And, people are already disturbed. They already are. So asking them, the estate planning question is important because it is like, does somebody know where all your passwords are, right? It is caring about if something happened to you. Same thing with the estate documents, or when the last time was, and the different things with their kids and what's important to them, right? It is about their future. I think we as advisors come in and think that we have the idea of what their future should look like. And the more they can tell us, we can work in partnership. It is about creating a partnership, a financial advisor creating a partnership with a prospect or client. And even if that prospect is not a right fit, it's still leaving them in a better place than where they started.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that's a part of my process that I've really liked is, I'm a big advocate for personality types, personality typing, and anybody who's in professional services learns this over time, that people process different information differently. Like different people can process information very differently, like what they focus on, what they care about, what the stumbling blocks are, what the assurance is, like what they need to hear is going to be very different depending on who that person is. And it's funny in my world because, everybody's got to file a tax return, right? Like it's the same output, but it's more just the context around, well, like, what does that really mean for that person? And like, when you're speaking of, talking about the goals and the joys and the good things, for a lot of personality types, like they want to gloss over the bad. They just want to know that the bad is going to get taken care of. They want to know that the paperwork's getting filed on time, and they don't want to think about beneficiary forms or things like that.
Right.
And then you get other people who are the worrywart types, who are you kind of have to talk them through the doomsday scenarios of like, well, what's the worst case of different things. And so I think it's helpful in that beginning process to get a sense of like, okay, well, who's actually on the other side of the table, and how are they looking at the same, information that I'm looking at, and how do I convey this to them to, give them assurance, get them what they need, move them forward in the way that they need to be moved forward based on them, not based on, me, or, this is how the firm does it kind of attitude.
Right. And I think what I have found with over 25 years of experience in the business is most couples take in information differently.
Yeah.
Most of them, right? And one of them is usually the quieter voice in the conversation. It is that stat, and I don't, it says 70%. What if it's only 25% of widows leave their current advisor after the death of their spouse? 70% seems really high, but even if it's 25%, it is the most difficult time in their life, and they don't trust their financial advisor to take care of them. I think that's a big issue in the industry, and we need to do better with that. And it is getting to listen to the quieter voice in the conversation, and also building that plan that each one of them works for both of them, not just for one of them, right? It's this little 5-minute assessment that we created. We have we coach the advisors to have each one of the couple take it themselves so that they can hear both people. So however the advisor sets it up in questions, they need to be able to make sure they listen to the quieter voice. I even remember saying, okay, here's the question. I know you're going to jump in first, but you are going to keep your mouth shut today, right now. And she's going to jump in, or he's going to jump in first, and then we're going to bring you in. Mm-hmm. Right? We want to hear both of you because one of them tends to dominate.
Yeah, no, it's true. I've experienced that too in my career. Of the one of them is the designated money one. I'm the one that handles the money, and then the other one is the designated, I'll deal with it when I have to deal with it. That's pretty common setup. But that really doesn't work long term.
It doesn't work. Well, it works when the divide and conquer because all of us are so busy. But if the one that says, they get to deal with the money one, if they're not engaged and at least in the annual meetings, and if they're not at least involved in what the checklists are, and they're not involved in, then there's a big problem. And that's why they would leave, right? Mm-hmm. Because they wouldn't have been heard. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So for advisors so when we're talking about like clients and prospects with the listening and the asking questions, I think another, flip side of this, because for most firms, if you're not a solo practice where you've just got maybe a paraplanner, maybe one other person underneath you, if you're building a team underneath you, very often the dynamics change, right? Where it's, okay, we've got the clients, but I've actually got this whole other responsibility of my team. And that the growing and the nurturing and the retention of my team is actually a higher priority for me as kind of the, CEO executive than the client retention, a bit. So when we look at it in that lens of what you see advisors successfully do, or what you recommend around, people who are building teams within their firms, how does that conversation change a little bit with the being able to ask proactive questions and ways to handle that? Just a slight interruption in this conversation. I wanted to bring to your attention two things that are important for you to know. So we're always at the mercy of social media algorithms. So if you can subscribe to the show, that would mean a lot to me. Even more to me if you can leave a rating and let me know what you think about it. But we have a new newsletter that's coming out. It's going to be very active in 2025. That is specifically around tax issues that I'm seeing advisors face in their own practices, changes in legislations, and the pieces that I think are critically important for you to stay ahead of as an advisor with the new administration. So nearby, wherever you're interacting with this, will be the link of how to sign up for our newsletter. Also nearby will be the link to my LinkedIn, which is the best way to get in touch with me, learn more about what we're doing for advisors in the tax strategy and compliance work that we do, and also to get access to the various tools and interviews and things that I do, specifically designed to help you improve your practice, improve your own tax situation, etc. So let's get back to the episode, and thanks for tuning in.
It is the same thing. It is, I believe for a financial advisor, and I believe with my team, they are the A+ clients, and we should treat them as the A+ clients. And I've had a lot of conversation with other financial advisors who are late to their team meetings, who, say some client is coming in, so we're not going to have a team meeting, et cetera, that level of respect isn't there with their best clients. And truly, as you and I know, turnover in an advisor's firm is hard. It's so hard. I think the recent stats are an advisor spends 60% of their time doing CEO work. That's not our best use of our ability. So as soon as we can, getting somebody to really engage with the team, treating the team as they are the A+ clients, having those conversations with them about where do they want to go in their future and helping them. I have several people on our team that, their goal was to get off the team.
Yeah.
which doesn't sound really good, but when they can be honest with you and say, I had one that went back to get her PhD in statistical science, right? So how can I best support her on that path and what I can do while she is giving her all on the team, right? Really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a fundamental mindset shift that I think a lot of people they're just not aware of it until you get into those bigger structures of realizing like, oh, these team members are my A+ clients. Like it really is how I have to treat this, and really reverse engineer how I'm leading so that they can be successful and that I'm providing them the transformation that they need. That we've built an environment where they have certain pain points, they have certain needs. We need to make it, an ecosystem where the client's pain points are being served, but then the team members are also getting that same transformation. Otherwise, I see this so often in my industry, but people get burnt out, frustrated, always dealing with fires, always dealing with, they're always the last person to be accounted for. And so by switching that kind of a mindset, it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. I had a client that I found out was not kind to my team members, but was gracious and wonderful to me. I had no idea. And when I found out, I had a conversation with the client about their behavior, and the behavior continued. And so I let them go. And they had like $10 million with us. And they're like, you can't. Yeah,
yes, I can.
Yeah. And it was the best morale boost for our team, because, saying that they're your A+ client is one thing. Treating them, and they always say they watch our feet, not what we say. Our kids watch our feet, our clients watch our feet, our team watches our feet, right? What we say is great, but that doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's so true. So to talk a little bit about the kind of the process that you take with firms, and just for firms who are interested in maybe having a more structural ability to do this, what's the general process that you take with firms, Colleen?
So one of the things I realized, Catherine, on as an advisor, we had incredible systems and processes in place. The Four Seasons says systematize the predictable so you can humanize the exceptional, right? So we had that in all of our CRM and our e-money and all the different financial stuff, but there was nothing on the human side that was a repeatable, proven process that could be used. And so when I sold my firm in 2020, that's what I created with Jeannie Hurlburt, who is a PhD and a specialist in assessment. Not my specialist, definitely hers. So quick 5-minute assessment that prospects take and clients take in their annual review process about mindsets, about things that they are concerned about, where they are now and where they want to be in their future. 5 minutes, they walk in having a different conversation instead of about what was my return on investment. It's mostly about, oh, I scored a 2 and she wants to be a 10, on the different things of health and wellness. It's not anything about their money, right? The other thing is, we talked about this earlier, it really helps us see whether or not it's a right fit client for me and for the advisors we work with. Them sharing where they want to go is really important. If they just want an investment return, they're not really a good fit for our financial planning firm, right? If that's all they care about. And the minute the returns are down, they're gone anyway. So who really cares? So this is about mindset. So I had an advisor say, you just saved me thousands of dollars. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, I gave that a quick assessment to this guy that I wanted to meet with, and he said it's stupid, that all he cares about is investment returns. And I went, that's great. I hope you find somebody that works with you on that, because it was about mindset. And then somebody else came in and was about purpose. It was about where they wanted to go. And they said, wow, that really, in that quick 5 minutes, I had to think about, like, does somebody know where my passwords are? Where do I really want to go after I, leave this job? It's like, that was 5 minutes. That was a lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
They came in talking about that instead of, here's my portfolio. And it's a great thing to add into the beginning of the annual review debt, because those things change. Our health changes. That's one of the things. Our family changes. A lot of things come up in the middle of the conversation about mindsets.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good point with that one case of, basically the advisor where they got pushback on doing something like that from a prospect. And then, oh, I just want a certain return. It's like, oh man, how much operational drag was that going to create for
Yeah.
non-sustainable revenue? Because you've now got somebody that's just going to be shopping you all the time. And,
Yeah.
really you're going to use like high quality capacity where like you're not even going to be able to retain the revenue most likely, and probably going to be a drag on the team morale. Like that's great to find that out in 5 minutes on the front end.
Yeah, and it was a quick 5-minute call. I mean,
Yeah.
great. I mean,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that doesn't happen very often, but if it does, that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's important. So for people who are interested in getting into your world, Colleen, what's the best way for them to connect?
To connect with me on LinkedIn.
Okay. So we'll post that link below.
Yeah, on LinkedIn. They can go to C&J Innovations. That's great as well, but connect with me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. And any final thoughts before we sign off today?
No, Catherine, I love the work that you're doing. I love how you connect people. I love how your focus is with it, financial advisors, and really helping them. They spend so much time running the business. What you do really helps them take time back to their clients.
Yeah, and I think a really big component of this, and we didn't get into it today, but it's, you have to wear so many hats when you're running firms, and client service, team leader, and then you've just got this whole other organism that's the business asset of the practice and, financial performance on the firm itself. And so because you have to wear so many hats, it can be really hard to prioritize where you're spending your time. So it's always a good idea to, just realize that you're wearing so many hats and figuring those components out. But thanks for coming on the show, Colleen.
Decide which hats you want to give to somebody else.
Exactly. That's the challenge, right? You got to you wear all the hats at the beginning and you just slowly peel them off as you grow.
Right. That's right. It was great to be with you, Catherine.
Yeah, thank you. And so for the advisors listening, we'll post below Colleen's LinkedIn, and then we'll also post her company website if you want to check it out. I'm sure there's good resources on there as well. And so thanks again for listening. This was another episode of the Financial Advisors Want to Know podcast, and I'm Catherine Tindall.